So now to the how. Within the assessment guidelines, you'll see a step-by-step process that can be followed to monitor students that are receiving interventions. The steps outlined are based in the comprehensive literature review that we've conducted as a state team about the current research on monitoring mainly academic interventions. Many of these steps are translated pretty easily into the area of behavioral interventions, but we'll be focusing more on academic intervention progress monitoring during this section. So before we begin the steps, we should note that traditional progress monitoring measures, such as CBM, are by design highly sensitive to incremental progress or growth of students over time. But because of this level of sensitivity, they also have lower levels of reliability. This is much like what we talk about with blood pressure. So when we talk about measuring someone's blood pressure, we never take one measure of blood pressure at one instance to make a determination about medication or lifestyle changes. Blood pressure is highly unreliable when you measure it once. When you measure it over time, multiple times, on multiple occasions, then we can start making some decisions based on the trend. And this is the same way about measures that we traditionally use to progress monitor. Due to these high levels of sensitivity, but lower levels of reliability, the current research indicates that we really need to attend to this by taking some precautions to make some sound decisions using these measures. Precautions which you'll see more of and hear more of within this video are using more data points across multiple measures over longer time periods than what we as practitioners used to be accustomed to. So let's get into the steps of progress monitoring. So the first step is always to determine what is the student's current level of performance. For some students, this could be their universal screening data, but for others that show they are significantly below grade level, this is typically 2 or more years below grade level, we want to conduct something called survey level assessment. Some people call this back testing. This is in order to find their instructional level. More information and complete guidance on survey level assessment is available, but for now let's talk about that once we use that survey level assessment and we find their instructional level, this is typically where they're functioning between about the 10th and 25th percentile. However, some measures, such as DIBELS Next, have their own procedures to find that student's instructional level. And we should always use the method that's matched to that assessment that you're using. For information on the progress monitoring using DIBELS Next, this is especially important for K-3 in North Carolina, but please refer to the link that's provided within the assessment guidelines. So let's take this through the lens of an imaginary student when we're finding that first step of conducting what it is to find where they're currently functioning. So let's say his name is Chris, and Chris is in the 4th grade, and on the universal screening measure used of oral reading fluency, his score placed him at about the 10th percentile compared to national norms. We know that Chris is significantly below grade level based on that data. So now we test back or conduct survey level assessment, and we find that in 2nd grade level material, his performance is at the 20th percentile. So we could probably say that 2nd grade would be his instructional level.